Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you're new here, please take a minute to like, subscribe, drop a comment below, let me know what you think of the video. Today I'm going to be building this little entry door hanger, key holder, coat rack, purse rack, whatever you want to call it. We'll be making this out of 3/4 inch cherry. You can choose a material of your choice. Here's the cut list if you want to take a second, write it down. I'm actually building this as I go, so the video may sound a little bit weird. I do the drawing later, but there's the cut list for now. Now the boards I'm using aren't wide enough to make the back in one piece. I'm going to glue up 2 of the boards to make the backing, and I'm going to have 1 board for the bottom shelf. I'm going to cut these pieces first, and I'm going to cut them longer than what I need. That way I can trim them up to size. You can take my cut list at the beginning there and just add whatever you want. If you want to make this wider, thinner, completely up to you. Now for the top, I'm going to make it a little bit wider and longer. So I'm going to make that cut now. And I want this to hang over a 1/2 inch off each side. So I have to add 1/2 inch to both sides, 3/4 for the thickness of the wood. And then I'll cut my divider out of the piece that's left over here. Next, I'm just going to clean up the board's edges. That way I've got a nice straight reference side before I cut everything to width. Now I need to decide how deep I want the shelf. I want the top to extend at least 1/2 inch past the bottom shelf. The top is going to sit on the sides of the boards and on the back while the shelf sits in between them. So I need to factor that into my measurements. I'm going to make the shelf 4.5 inches deep, and then the top will be 6 inches deep. That'll give me a nice overhang, and not a big overhang, but enough that it'll give me a nice gradient look. Now I didn't have the plans drawn up when I started doing this, so as you can see I'm just kind of fitting it together as I go. So this is how you would build your own if you're going to fit it together one piece at a time. Next I'll measure for the sides. I'm keeping the square for now. You can scroll shape however you like, but I don't want them longer than about 12 inches. So I'll cut the 2 pieces at 12 inches and I'll cut the same width as the top. I'll trim this up later once I get it together and I can see what it looks like. Now I need to figure out how deep the side should be. You can design yours however you want, especially if you want to scroll them. But I'm going to just do 5 3/4 inch. Gives me a 1/4 inch overhang under the 6 inch top, and about the same for the shelf. Now I want to work on my divider, but I can't do that until I get everything planed down. Right now it's almost 1 inch wood. I'm going to plane it down to 3/4 inch. I don't want to mess up my measurements anymore before I start fine tuning everything. So I'm going to go ahead and run everything through the planer, get it to size, and then I'll finally make the final decisions on where I want everything at. I'm just sanding as I go. I'm going to hit this with an 80 and then a 120, just so when I get to the final assembly, it's less sanding to do. Now I know I want my pockets 6 inches tall, so I'm just going to take my divider and I'm going to mark how deep I want it. Now you can flush this out if you want to with the edge. I'm going to recess mine back in just a little bit because I'm going to round those edges off and make it fit back in just a little bit. Again, completely up to you, your preference. I'm going to glue my 2 backboards together. If you had a wide enough board, you can of course skip this step. I'm going to plane them, flush them afterwards so it looks like a single panel. Now I've marked my matching points with an I and an O. I'm going to run one on the inside and one on the outside when you join these. So basically if you place one face in and one face out, the idea is that if your planer is slightly out of square, the opposing angles offset each other and make sure the joint stays flat. So if you're at 89 degrees on your joint, when you flip around the other way, you put them back to back. One's inside, one's outside. They'll butt up perfectly together that way. Now this next step is optional. Since I have a domino tool, I'm adding a couple dominoes to keep the panel aligned during the glue up. Glue and clamps alone are plenty strong enough here, but the dominoes help keep everything flush. If you wanted to, you could also pocket screw that since it's going to be on the back, or you could dowel it. But again, just glue alone for being a back panel. And we're going to attach it with sides, top, and a shelf. Glue alone is probably more than enough to hold this together. And I just want to take a rag and wipe off all my excess, save me some sanding later. Now here I'm just kind of dry fitting it together. I've got a piece of 3/4 inch under here so I can put my shelf under it, and I'm just measuring the distance there. I just want that to be halfway in between. So I'm going to cut my sides down just to make it look a little bit better, trim them up a little bit better. So I'm going to make these 5 3/4 inches on the sides. That way I've got a 1/4 inch overhang at the top and about a 1/4 inch overhang on the bottom shelf. So I'm just going to fit this back together, finish trimming everything up the way I want it, and I'm going to figure out how long I want my sides to be, or how tall I want the unit to be. I decided to shorten the sides to 10 inches. I'm going to cut both of those at the same time, that way they're identical. So they're 12 inches to start with, so I'm going to nip a little bit off of one end of them just to make them even, and then cut them flush. Now that I've got it close to where I want it, I'm going to go ahead and decide where I want to round my edges over. You don't have to round anything. If you don't want to, you can leave it square, you can chamfer it, or you can just soften the edges a little bit. I'm just marking the edges now that I want to round over, since I don't want to round everything over. And depending on the thickness of your wood you're using, since I'm using 3/4, I'll probably use a 3/16 or a 1/4 inch round over bit, just to give it a nice little rounded edge. Now for my side cutout, I want to make a slight arch. I'll mark this about 2.5 inches up and across. Then I'll blend the curve in. You can use a template, a can, anything else with a radius on it. You can freehand it if you're comfortable. I like having a guide, especially since bandsaw cuts aren't always perfect. I'm going to cut this as close as I can with a bandsaw. If you feel more comfortable, you can use a jigsaw or handsaw, whatever you feel more comfortable with. I'm going to use the sander, and once I get all the imperfections out of it and I get it shaped the way I want it to, I'm just going to put this on top of the other piece and transfer it over and repeat the process for the other side. Next, I'll round over the edges on the sides to match the other parts, and then we'll be ready to fit the back panel in. I'll take the back and lightly run it through the planer again just to remove the glue line and confirm that it stayed flat. I'd originally planed it to 3/4 of an inch, so I'm just going to take really light passes, not reducing the thickness much, just cleaning it up a little bit. And then I'll follow up with a 80 grit sandpaper, followed by a 120 after that. Again, you can take this 180, 220, whatever you want. I'm going to leave mine at 120. I think that looks good for what I'm doing. I'm really happy with how this is coming together. I'm going to make a couple final tweaks and prepare for the final measurements. I want to take my back here and I want to cut it to 10 inches. That way it'll be flush with my sides. Again, this is your preference. If you want it down a little further, up a little further, cut it to where you want it at. All right, so the last couple things to do, I need to make my width the way, how wide I want it. Now I want these pockets to be 10 inches each. I want the full pocket to be 10 inch. So I've got 20 inches there. I've got a 3/4 inch divider for the middle, so I need to add the 3/4 for that. So I'm going to do 20 and 3/4 of an inch. That way I've actually got two 10-inch pockets. I'm going to cut my back and my bottom shelf at the same time. That way when I put the sides on it, there's no gapping and there's no spacing. Even if it's a 1/16 of an inch, there's nothing to make up for. They should fit together perfectly. We got to do the same thing with our top, so figure out what you want your overhang to be. If you want it to be a 1/2 inch, you take the 20 and 3/4 and add 1 inch to it. That gives you a 1/2 inch on each side. Or if you want to hang over more or less, make your adjustments and set it how you want. So now I've got it looking the way I want it. I'm going to go ahead and put it on paper now. I cut this part in the beginning just so you could have all the dimensions, but I did this off of a picture I was looking at on the internet, so I wanted to get it all together and then go back and put all my measurements on paper, so if I want to repeat it again or make another one, I've got the paperwork done. I'm going to go ahead and put my divider in place and clamp it, and I'm going to let all this glue dry, and I'm going to use screws again to hold it all together. While that piece is starting to set up, I'm going to put a keyhole in the back of my two sides. That way I can keyhole it and hang it on the wall. If you want to put a rope across the back or a couple little of the clip hooks that you can just hang screws on it with, up to you. I'll do a separate video on how to set up the keyhole if you want to watch that. I'll try to put a link in the description below if I remember. So again, just a couple even keyholes on both sides. That way we can hang it on the wall when we get done with it. Now it's just a matter of assembly. Now again, I want to put all mine together. I'm going to glue it all together. I'm going to use screws in mine. I'm going to countersink the screws. I'm going to plug it with small plugs. I've got a CNC machine so I can make my own plugs. I'm going to use 10mm holes. If you want to countersink them and you don't have a CNC or a way to make your own plugs, if you use a 3/8 inch countersink, you can usually get a 3/8 inch dowel that'll fit right in those holes. I'm going to clamp everything together. I'm going to let it set for probably a good 20-30 minutes. Then I'm going to go back and put my screws in it, but I'm going to keep the clamps on when I put the screws in. That way I don't push the wood apart. I want to glue this up good. I don't want it to squish out everywhere. I don't want to make a super big mess. Since the screws are going to be doing most of the holding, I just want it to stay in place and everything will be seamed up and sealed really good together. That way there's no cracks or gaps or anything in there that I have to fill later. So there's everything clamped up, and as you can see on the back here, I had just one little piece of wood. I had a little spot that didn't want to really agree with me very much, so I just took a flat board, laid it across there, pulled the clamps tight, and made sure everything stayed nice and flush. Once everything is dry, I'm going to go ahead and measure how deep I want my screws to be set so I don't miss the holes, and I'm going to mark that down the edge. Now again, this was my choice to put the screws and the dowels in there. If you wanted to, you could just dowel this, or again, you could just brad nail it together as you were putting it together and save yourself probably a good hour, hour and a half's worth of work. I just like the way this looks better. It's definitely a solid piece, but the brad nails would hold it together just fine also. I just don't like the way brad nails look when they're finished. And just not to repeat myself too many times here, but again, I'm leaving the clamps on while I'm putting the screws in since I'm doing this kind of in the same day. This has been dried for probably 30 minutes, 45 minutes. So I don't want to push it apart with the screws. So I'm keeping the clamps in place while I put the screws in. That way it just doesn't push itself apart. This is where my entertainment values don't do me any good, but this is pretty much rinse and repeat. We're going to do the same thing with the top. We're going to put glue on here. We're going to put the top on it and make sure it's nice and flush on the back. Make sure our sides are evenly displaced. And we're just going to clamp it down again, wait for the glue to dry a little bit, and run some screws in here. Once my glue's set up for a little bit, again, same thing, I'm leaving the clamps on. I'm going to put some screws in here in strategic positions. That way I can remove the clamps in and put as many more as I want in here. You're not going to need a whole lot of screws in here. I don't want this to look like Swiss cheese when I'm done, but I want it to be anchored nice to where it's nice and secure. You'll be able to hang whatever you want on here. Probably even do a couple chin-ups on it if you wanted to. After I get all the screws on, I want to fill these holes up with glue. I'm not packing the glue in there. I'm just putting it on the edge of it, and I'm going to spin these as I turn them in to make sure I get glue all the way on my pins, and I'm just going to tap them in place. They should fit in there super snug. That way they're not falling out on you. And if you're doing hardwood like walnut or cherry like this, you don't want the glue to be sticking out because when you oil it or stain it or poly it, you're going to see your glue marks. After the glue dries a little bit, take you a flat saw and cut these off flush. Repeat this for all the screw holes all over your unit. And once you get those all done, we'll be back to sanding. Do your final sand everything where it's nice and clean. And again, you can use whatever grit you want. You probably don't need to start with an 80 now since it's already at a 120. But again, I'm going to use 120 to finish mine with. Do 180, 220, whatever you feel comfortable with. Now for a finish, you can use polyurethane, shellac, oil, tung oil, whatever you want. I'm going to use Howard's Feed and Wax. This goes on fairly easy. It gives the cherry a really nice color. It's not needed to be reapplied very often. Every probably 3 to 6 months, you might have to wipe it down. Depending on what you're using it for. If you're doing like a footstool or something like that, it's got a lot of high traffic, you may have to do it every 2 to 3 months. But a piece like this will stay just like it is for at least 6 months hanging on the wall. After you decide what hooks you want to put on there, I'm just going to measure out how far apart I want them, whether I want 2 hooks, 3 hooks, 4 hooks. Again, entirely up to you. I'm going to do 3 double hooks on mine. I'm going to measure them out, and then I'm going to pre-drill the screw holes. That way I don't split the wood. And what I normally don't do, I'm going to do it on the video just so you've got an idea in case you've not done this before. I want to take a piece of tape. I'm going to measure my screw, and I'm going to put the tape on the drill bit just a little bit shorter than the screw itself. That way when I pre-drill my hole, I don't run the screw in too deep, or I don't run the drill bit all the way out the back of my wood. And again, check and make sure your screw's not too long. Some of the screws that come with these hooks are longer than they need to be. You may have to get different screws to go into your project to not go through the back. And here's the final project. Sorry it's not as well lit out here, but please click on like, subscribe, drop a comment down below, and let me know what you think of it.